It's the Park Experience panel, everybody. MCParks has been growing a lot over the past several months, and not just in guest numbers and projects, but like in the scope of what it is that we do. If you've gone to the other department panels, you know that it was first just building and making sure guests had a good time, and then we started doing much more innovative things on our attractions. So the technician department was founded to make those effects happen. But now we're expanding even more into realms that we probably could not have even anticipated back in 2013. And that is where the Parks Experience role has come to kind of expand into all of those many, many fields. Darren, give us a taste of just some of what the Parks Experience team does.
Yeah, so we have the pixel artist where they are recreating all the different signs and images on the server. They're building them pixel by pixel in Photoshop and Paint. And then we have the resource pack team, which makes all the wonderful merchandise and the cool ride items and the ride vehicles. We have the development team, which is doing work on the website and plugin development. And we have the PR and branding team, which does all of our great logo work. And in addition to that, they're also the people that put together the entire Expo keynote. And then we have our newer teams, which is going to be the music production team, which is working on dreamscapes and kind of the orchestrations for those areas. And then the creative writing team, which is creating the dialogues and the plot lines and stories for those attractions on dreamscapes. I think that's everything, right?
Yeah.
Did you mention developers or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of everything. It's a pretty diverse group of people here.
So we got people from all these facets kind of here. We love to talk a little bit about what it is that they do, and how they get it all done.
So I guess we could start by going down the line, unless anyone has a different way they kind of want to go through everything, and just kind of ask everyone what they do and how they do it.
I think we had a plan, an order for things, but
all right, what's the plan?
The plan was to go down the line and introduce ourselves.
Wait, I forgot the fireworks. Hold on. There.
God. Amazing.
Alrighty, so we'll start up top. So whoever wants to go first, go for it.
I'm gonna go down the row, so start with Corey and go down.
I guess we could do that. Hi.
Well, Boulder guys, just in the line of your panel. Never mind.
Yep. Okay, so hi, I'm Corey. I became a Parks Experience right as the role was created. Been here a little while now. You might have saw me yesterday at the tech panel, but I do a lot of 3D modeling on the server.
Like what? What would they know you for doing?
There's a couple models that I can think of off the top of my head. If you went into the expo hall and saw the Skyliner models, I made pretty much all of those. Actually, all the microphones that you see in my hand and everyone else is at the panels, I made those a while ago. There's a couple ride vehicles I've made here and there. There's some that you will see soon, others that you won't. But yeah, I've made a lot of stuff. Trying to think of a couple things, but it's kind of being a bit of a blank right now.
Corey's also been a big help with writing some like utility software to help other cast members get their jobs done more efficiently. When we think of development, I'm sure a lot of people think of the effects on our rides and the actual stuff in game, but that's not where the development for MCParks stops. There are lots of tools that are just like internal little tools that we use to make our jobs done more efficiently, and Corey's always a big help with those types of projects. We're actually working on several of those right now with relation to making the resource pack better. Yeah.
Alrighty, yeah, so that's Corey. So next up we have Mystery.
There we go. All right, I'm Mystery. You may know me as a GR on the server, but I am a Parks Experience creative writer, so you guys probably won't see a lot of my work until Dreamscapes actually opens, because That's mainly where my work comes in. But I work on a lot of the scripts and dialogue that you guys will see in the future for that park.
It's very exciting. It's so fun to be in a place where we can like write our own rides. Like, isn't that exciting?
Yeah, I know that I specifically have been a huge fan of just watching the entire process. For those of you who were at the Imagineering panel earlier today, we talked a little bit about Explorer's Kingdom and kind of like went through kind of the history and the lore of the park and stuff. So being able to kind of be where that that storyline is kind of being built is really cool. So yeah, that's the creative writing division of the Parks Experience team. It's a small team working on growing it, but you'll see what they do a little bit later down the road. Who do we got next up?
Woody?
Hi, I'm Woody Black or Melody, dependent on my mood. And I am a pixel artist. I helped organize the pixel art team, and it's been an absolute pleasure putting lots of pixel art everywhere in the parks for you guys to see.
How did that come about, Melody? How did the pixel art thing start? Because obviously you came from Imagineering.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that I couldn't say this until now, but I started working on Tower of Terror in Disneyland Paris, and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of paintings in here and some stuff that I could do some pixel art for. And my school gave me Photoshop, so I was like, why not try using this? And I just started creating some pixel art, and I was like, whoa, I like this. And so I went to Ryan and I was like, what if we did this but more? And he was like, yeah, I'm open to it. So we talked and we kind of created a little bit of a sub department for it, which was really exciting because now we have so many talented artists that honestly they blow me every day with what they do. So yeah, it's really exciting. And it's fun also balancing Imagineer work and pixel art work, even though it's a little bit tedious at times.
Woody pulled a, but wait, there's more.
There's more?
So yeah, that's what he.
No.
Mert, you want to go?
All right, let's go. I'm Mert. You know me because I like Matt Damon too much, but I'm here on the resource pack team and the branding team. So I do a lot of illustrations in real life. I work at UCF. So on here, you know me from all the shoulder dolls probably, and a lot of the other new food and wine merch, things like that. Besides that, I've edited a lot of the videos for the panel, the keynote, including the Step in Time intro, Hagrid, Haunted Mansion Holiday, etc. So I do a lot here, and it's cool.
So yeah, that's. Do you have a favorite model or anything that you've worked on, or?
I have a lot. I'm just gonna say the Born hat just because it supports the meme.
I appreciate that. Alrighty, so next up.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bouldergeist. I am still a technician, but about a month ago I started getting more into Parks Experience stuff with pixel art, and then as well more recently I helped work on some of the videos for the expo, probably most notably Step in Time with Mert as well. And then you probably know me from some of my pixel art is some of the new land pavilion signs. I've really enjoyed working on those, and then like the Pizza Rizzo sign as well.
Nice. Is there a favorite thing that you've worked on?
I really liked the main entrance land sign. I think it turned out really well.
Nice. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That and the Pizza Rizzo animated sign are both really good.
A lot of fun to work on.
It's rat pizza.
Alrighty, who we got next?
Hi, my name is Tyler or Funkle in game. You will know mainly as guest relations, but about 2 weeks ago, I came over to PR branding to help with the expo and further ventures, I guess. Yeah. I worked some videos you may know me as like Test Track. I would help Mert with Haunted Mansion Holiday. Yeah.
Which has been your favorite to work on?
Oh, I enjoyed Test Track because that's one of my favorite attractions.
That ride was for the video was a pain point for us for a little bit.
It took a couple hours, but it's okay. It's fine now.
All right, who we got next?
Hello, my name is Sam. In game, my name is Starport75. I was originally a technician. I was here a couple years ago. I've come back in the last couple months as COVID started. I mainly work on some of the concepting for some website updates, and then I've been helping out with some of the branding and animation and motion stuff for a lot of the stuff that you guys saw at the expo.
All of the follow the bouncing MCParks logo in the whistle while you work and step in time bit. Sam did that. How long did that take, Sam?
There's about, so if you think about it in the sense that every single word had about 3 keyframes associated with it to make that bouncing work, it was a good 2 8-hour days that got that one done. I work in live production in real life, so a lot of the skills I learned from that helps with a lot of the stuff that I do on here. But yeah.
Nice. All right, who we got next?
I think we have Frank on the end there.
Hi, I'm Frank. You may know me as a pixel artist or a person too active on Discord. A lot of my work has been on areas currently in early access, so you might not have seen much of it, but once they open up, you might see them dotted about the site. I've mostly been focused on, getting to know people and doing work at the same time, so it's quite hard to balance those out. But it's been a fun ride.
Nice. Favorite sign or thing that you've worked on?
I like Toy Story Mania. That was quite fun to work on.
Yeah, that's a cool one. You could see some of that in the expo hall if you head over there after the panel. But yeah, that's a good pick. I appreciate that one. Then we have a couple people who aren't on stage. If you want to talk, we have Broken next. If you want.
Hello, I'm Broken TV. I didn't plan anything for an intro, but basically, I'm part of the Parks Experience branding, and I actually made my my main hat is a GR, which is a GR hat, and the first video that I've ever made for MC Parks was the MC Parks is hiring video back when I was a CP. So, yay!
What's your favorite video that you've made, Broken?
That is a toughie, but I'd go for the indie hat gag where Darren is swinging on a rope, because I actually got to bully him twice. One was when the rope fell apart, and the other with the boulder.
There you go. I'm a big fan of that video. It's one of my favorites.
If you enjoyed the Galaxy's Edge teaser videos, both the Coke one and the kind of like land trailer that we released yesterday, those were both made by Broken.
He does a good job.
Alrighty. Who else we got here? We have Kevin, if you want to say anything real quick, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Kevin, or Kevin Powers. I've been with the branding team for, 4 weeks now, so not very long, but just in time for the expo, so I got to get my feet wet real quick, and that was a great experience. I've worked on the Haunted Mansion trailer, which was kind of talked about a little bit or hinted at in the panel earlier today, as well as the Busch Gardens, and then the infamous Ryan playing Bedrock video.
Nice. Which of those is your favorite?
I like the Haunted Mansion just because we had to do some tomfoolery with it, and maybe we might be talking about that later, so I won't give too much away about that right now.
Give away too much.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question from the audience. Surfer Boy wants to know. It's directed at Broken, but anybody who makes similar videos can answer. How do we animate the characters in the teaser trailers like the Galaxy's Edge videos? How do you make that happen?
Well, the thing is, I actually have no animating background whatsoever. In fact, the Galaxy's Edge Coke video, that was the first video that I've ever made. And basically, what I've done is I've actually looked at the video and tried to mimic what the actor was doing, either by like raising their hand and stuff like that, and I try to do it frame by frame.
And what is the name of the tool that is used to do that? You mentioned that you don't have any animation experience, so how could you possibly make an animation?
I use MyAnimator, which is a cool free little tool that lets you move around Minecraft entities and of course characters, and that was fun to make.
Yeah, MyAnimator is really awesome, and it's a really accessible way for anybody to create Minecraft animations. Zebra wants to know for the pixel artist, so Melody or another pixel artist can answer. What's the best way to get started with that type of pixel art that we do?
Well, I would take any program that you have. I use Photoshop, but you can use things online like paint.net. And then you can take like a picture from the parks and just kind of trace it and then put in colors. We have a very specific palette of colors that we can use because there's only certain colors that show up on Minecraft maps. Here, I'll actually send a picture of the colors that we use in a moment. But yeah, I would just keep practicing, keep tracing things, and just use your own creative judgment and see where you can make things really shine.
Frank posted a good picture from the Minecraft wiki there that shows the color palette for maps.
Just before I forget, just one last introduction for people that are on the Parks Experience team that are unmuted their mics. We have Dark Cloud, so if you want to introduce yourself real quick, you can.
Sure. I wasn't expecting this, but what's up? I'm Steve. I just joined Parks Experience doing music production. I started doing this a few weeks ago. Actually, just finished up a first draft for some area music for the new Explorers Kingdom, and some real exciting stuff. Getting to basically get an area and turn it into music. And there's me and some other cast members working on it right now. We're also doing some really great work, and it's some really exciting stuff.
Nice. There's not too much done, so I can't really ask you what your favorite thing you've worked on is, but
yeah.
Hopefully we can start showing some stuff off in the near future, more than we have already at the expo.
I mean, that being said, Dark used to be a technician manager, right?
Way in like 2014.
Yeah.
What is it with Parks Experience people previously being technician managers?
Well, because I think people used to be technician managers. They went out into the world. They came back with some sort of technical knowledge, and now they want to share that knowledge with us. But that's what I think has gone on.
Exactly.
Were you the one that was really into data collection as well?
Yes, that was.
Yeah, I did the whole thing with the hoppers and the pressure plates back in like 5 years ago. Not very high tech compared to what
first ride
going
counter.
on now.
Essentially.
Melody, I believe there's something that you want to show everybody.
Oh, I mean, we had some things planned, but I was gonna show some people how we do some of those angled signs, like you saw some of those, such as the Flavortown sign in the expo, as well as the Toy Story Mania sign and the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway sign. So we have a whole process for that, but here's what it kind of looks like. One of the steps looks like in Photoshop before we actually put it into the park. And then here's the final product. Let me just put these both in here, just so you can kind of see how we do that, or how it's a lot of math. There's a lot of math involved.
to be fair, a lot of programs like Photoshop will automate some of that math because, that's what they're for. But
And then I also wanted, because everyone shared their favorite pixel art that they did, I just wanted to say that my favorite was the Indiana Jones poster, which you could also see at the expo.
If you have a nice like high res version of it, you could post it in here as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you guys want to go through the? You guys had like this like the document of going through stuff. Do you guys want to start running through that?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay.
So the first thing on our little list is the resource pack. So Mert, would you like to discuss some of the software that we use?
All right, cool. It's mainly Blockbench and Cubic. Some of us use only Blockbench, some of us use only Cubic. I use both. So Corey, if you want to do your process as well.
So I'm the crazy one. I use pretty much only Cubic, which is a rather old now paid software for modeling, and it's quite fun. So that's me making the Tomorrowland Speedway vehicles, so if you wanted a little idea for the future. So Cubic is very good for voxels. Blockbench has a lot of like add-ons that you can make yourself, and it makes it really cool. Some people are crazy, but I try to just stick with whatever I can. Our process isn't too crazy, really. We just start with something called a mesh, which is these basic 3D models that are very made out of triangles, pretty much. And we use those to kind of shape out what our model might look like. And then if we're using Cubic, we can convert those meshes into voxels. And those voxels can be tweaked as much as we want, made to look as good as we want, or as bad as we want, depending on how we're making it. We can design it to look to the best quality that we can get it to, which can then get converted to elements. And elements are our main form of models that you see in Minecraft. So technically everything that you see that is a model is made out of elements in some way, shape, or form. And these elements are what you see in a JSON model, which is what we have in game.
Yeah, I just posted in the chat some of the meshes that I've made. You can just try to guess what they are. But I usually use Cubic to do the meshes and I convert to voxels. And then I typically go to Blockbench for the texturing. So we use only Minecraft textures that are in our game in our current version.
And I do it a little differently because everyone has their own like style to do this. So what I typically do, I pretty much only use Cubic. So I make all of my textures and I turn it into a texture atlas, not an atlas, a palette of textures. And I go into Notepad++ and I literally just manually change the textures via text. And I go back into Cubic to make it look better.
I can't survive doing that. I tried it once and I was like, I can't. So I just go to Blockbench. It's easier for me in Blockbench because some of the controls are nicer. So basically, I usually just use a ton of references for what I want to make. If it doesn't exist in real life, like most of the shoulder dolls, I just look at like 16 billion views of the character on Google and I use it as my base. All right. If you wanted to, Corey, we can go over like specific projects we've probably made merch wise if you want to.
Yeah. When I mention a color palette, this is kind of what one looks like. It's very small. And we kind of have to merge those into our actual thing. So yeah, products. We've all made a ton of different models. Actually, pretty much everything that I'm wearing right now is something that I've made on the server. So sometimes we do a little bit of texturing for different merch items that you have. I've made a lot of ride vehicles in the past. Some that you might think of now that I'm remembering is if you've ever went to Islands of Adventure and you've ridden Popeyes, I made that model. Or if you think about, what is that, Ripsaw Falls, I have that model to make. If you really like spamming really quick rides that are not even open in real life, Primeval Whirl, that's a good one. Or would you like to mention a couple of yours?
Yeah, for me, I've mostly just been sticking the merch. My main goal is to make merch for Disney one day, so this seems like a nice prerequisite. So some of the merch you've probably seen, of course, recently are the expo hats and shirts. Making shirts is a bit different than modeling. You have to use property files and colors. It's a whole other thing to do.
It uses
So-
Optifine's custom item textures feature.
Yes. And then I did the food and wine merch. So most of the food I made, I had a bunch of help with Corey and some other modelers too. I made the food and wine hat and shirt so you can get the expo hall right now. And probably more infamously, I did the funnel cakes for Jack in about an hour, just because I thought it would be funny to get done before the end of the stream. So I had help with Boulder guys making pixel art in this. I don't know who made the AST of Jack and the funnel cake stand, but you can buy them now. It's at Warp Funnel Cake. I'll post that image in the chat.
I'm gonna say that it was Brabley that did the armor stand.
And so another one of the neat things about our resource pack team is that we are lots and lots of people who are all contributing to this one resource pack, which is like its own code base in a way. And so to keep all of this straight, to make sure that we're not overwriting each other's changes, and things are being shared in like an efficient way, we use the software version control system called Git. If you're a programmer, you might be familiar with Git, but it's essentially a way to keep a directory of files all in sync with other people, and you're able to branch out and work on different things independently and then merge it into the shared code base. And that is very, very crucial in how we are able to have so many people work on it's how we're able to have so many people work on this resource pack and not and have it work at the end of the day.
And Git is actually one of the most useful tools that we have, because if anything goes wrong, it's very easy to backtrack if we need to. And it's also a very easy way of us sharing the entire pack, so we have a beta on our sides too.
So from here, we could probably give out maybe more teasers of other models we're working on in the future.
Oh, okay.
So a big one is, for me right now, is doing a lot of Halloween Horror Nights stuff. I'm hopefully making a lot of scare zones. That's going to be my biggest help. But most importantly, the Halloween Horror Nights food. I got to make the pizza fries. I got to make the twisted taters. Still working on those chocolate frogs for the store. Hopefully some Jimmy Fallon merchandise. I got to make that hashtag doll. Corey, if you want to share anything else you're doing, possibly.
I was just going to be annoying and just send an actual image, but okay.
I'm sure
It
people wouldn't
works
mind
too.
seeing an actual image. While you're sending that image, Josh wants to know what. I wouldn't have shared that one.
That is like
yeah, this is
one to share.
Yeah, this is not representative of what it's going to look like in its final state.
Definitely being worked.
Yeah, I wouldn't have shown that. But it's fine.
That's one of my noticed ones. So we're
Yeah. So sorry, Josh, Mr. JW wanted to know what program the first two pictures in the funnel cake thing were in.
Yeah, that's the display function in Blockbench. So that's typically the stage after I model it in Cubic. I kind of export it into Blockbench so I can add all the final Minecraft block textures. And in display, that's how you get to see how it's going to look on your player. So you can see how it looks like in your hand, how it looks like from your view, how it looks like from other views. If you put it on your head, if we have that as a functionality for funnel cake, I don't know. But you see me holding it because that's how I positioned it in Blockbench.
this is one that you might recognize from one of our rides.
Who made the Busch Gardens models that have been made so far?
I did, actually.
You can see them at the expo
Yeah, at
hall.
the expo hall.
Yes, they are in the expo hall. As pixel artists, what inspires your creative directory for some project you did freehand? I'm not sure I quite understand the question, but Melody, you want to take that?
If you mean like things that we design ourselves, so like maybe stuff for the expo or stuff for upcoming things like Explorers Kingdom, I think we all have our own way of doing it, but what I like to do is I like to sketch it out on paper first, kind of like what I'm going to, like what elements I want in there, just with pencil, and then I do it in Photoshop. Other people have different methods as well. So
There's a question about music. I think we'll hold off on that.
How do we want to move over to the next thing?
Yeah, I think
I was going to say there's one more resource pack question here about how do you get inspiration for making ride vehicle models?
I kind of just look at the picture. I look at Trello and see what needs to be done. And then I go and look at a picture of what it is and get a couple ideas of what I'm going after. And then just kind of build it off from there.
I just noticed Quef's here too. If you want to give a quick word about your stuff with the resource pack, I unmuted you, so if you unmute your mic, you'll be able to talk. For those who don't know, Quef did all of the overwhelming majority of the resource pack stuff that's going on in Galaxy's Edge. So all of the droid parts and pieces and stuff that you saw in the trailer and that you see over in the expo area, that was all done by him.
King wants to know if anyone who's here was responsible for some of the custom heads, like the ones in Pirates and Haunted Mansion Holiday.
A lot of that is done by Imagineers. They'll oftentimes log off, change their skin, and log back on and pull the head down from it. So yeah.
Pixel artist also. We work on heads as well. So
I did a bunch of the heads for Haunted Mansion Holiday. I don't know how many. There are so many that need to be done, but yeah, I did a few of those at least.
I've done the Jungle Cruise snake heads so far, and I'm working on models for Haunted Mansion Holiday, like Zero, things like that. One of my next projects is going to be doing more character skins, hopefully. That's a teaser.
Zebra, they just like, those image manipulation tools are just basically, canvases where you can draw as if you were drawing on paper, but on your computer. So you just make a canvas and then you just, use the pencil tool to put things in.
Another thing for the pixel art, real quick, for heads and skins, this will kind of tie into the branding and the keynote. For a lot of the videos, like the Oogie Boogie skin, the Disney character skins, Step in Time, I kind of used my own skins or basic skins, and I added costumes on top of it. So I'm able to edit things kind of to our own advantage based on what we're doing.
That's a good segue into talking about video production.
Your branding team, you guys want to go next, or?
I'm on that one too, so if anyone else wants to
we
join
can
me,
do that.
And then we'll go back to development after that. Alrighty, PR branding people, expo stuff. Talk about the
okay. Wow. Yeah. So, I guess I can start off here. I'll start off with our process of how we sort of went through and created all those videos. We utilized the program on the internet called Trello, where we kind of organized our videos and kind of just what we wanted to make. So that's where we used to talk about storyboards and utilizing reference videos and some videos that we recreated in Minecraft to give that real MCParks feel into our own parks. So yeah, our process was just making storyboards that would make sense within even making our own videos, creating our own content, like Test Track and Busch Gardens. Even another video I created was based off of just our own concepts and what we did creatively. If we want to talk about Mert, Holiday was a big project. If we want to go into that.
Yeah, I did a few projects that I kind of just went crazy with. I really like to be detailed with my work. So I guess we could just talk about programs we use too. So that'll be a segue after what I talk about to Boulder Geist and how he helped me. So for editing, I use the Creative Cloud suite from Adobe. So I used Adobe Premiere a ton, especially for on Mansion Holiday. I use a lot of color correction, making sure everything is more crisp and not muted during the final product. It helps with effects like the lightning strikes you might have seen. Filming is fun. I'll probably post the storyboard of what we did for Step in Time as an example, but I always make a big Google document with shots we can use, the list of shots, you can cross them out easily. I'll work with whoever I'm filming with just to make sure we have every single character on screen, depending on which scene we're doing. It could be a single character shot like we did with most of the characters in Step in Time, or it could be the giant group running shots we did, if anyone else helped out with that.
Yeah, I'm uploading the storyboard for Step in Time.
Just to touch on the editing software and what we use, we use a program called Replay Mod to create those smooth kind of panning and camera shots that we use in our videos as well. Editing software. Personally, I use DaVinci Resolve. It's free and it's really good to utilize and use. A bunch of us here, a lot of us like Premiere, and me and I guess Sam have utilized DaVinci.
Yeah, I'll switch between DaVinci Resolve and then go back to Premiere Pro, and a lot of the stuff for the Step in Time video that I did was all in After Effects. And then, so like the Step in Time video, for example, I would animate it all in After Effects, add a green background, send it off to Mert. Green would drop it in, not green. Mert would drop it into her timeline, and she would key out the green, and then that's how we were able to collaborate on that easily.
Sam, for someone who uses both DaVinci and Premiere, what are the pros to using either one?
There's not one preference I have over the other, honestly. The biggest reason why I do use both is I've always used Premiere Pro, but I've recently, in real life, began working with a lot of creative agencies that require you to use DaVinci. So that's the only reason why I really started using it. That and color correction in DaVinci is a lot better than color correction in Premiere Pro, in my opinion.
Oh, all right.
It is built more for color correction than anything DaVinci is.
Then you have me and Kevin, where I use Camtasia and Kevin uses
Movidia. Movidia,
yeah. Kind of the outliers of the professional software. I believe Camtasia is more hobby than professional.
But you're able to see what kind of content we can create with anything editing software wise you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big thing here when it comes to video editing or even image manipulation is that you can make great things regardless of what your tools are. You don't need the big expensive Creative Cloud suite in order to make quality stuff. And that just shows, in some of what these people are able to do.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you'll see different between, and I think I said this at some point a couple days ago, biggest difference that you'll see in this team compared to a lot of the other teams is a lot of us come from creative talents and creative backgrounds, not necessarily skills that can, besides like editing, things like that. A lot of what we do is stuff that you can't necessarily train someone to be creative, I guess. And I think that's what's super interesting because it goes along with the idea that whatever story you can create is 10 times more important than how cool the tools are that you use to create them. So as long as you have a good story, a good storyline, and a good foundation of what you're creating, it doesn't matter if you're using the free editing software or the $100 editing software. If you have a crazy powerful computer or a not so crazy powerful, it's what you can create in the story that you can tell that's 10 times more important.
That's a very good sentiment. If you take away one thing from this panel, it's that sentence.
I think it's the teamwork and the people involved as well. Because I don't have the filming software, I had the editing, so I directly wanted to work with whoever was filming for me. So Tyler, Boulder, and Eddie as well. I mean, sometimes if it was a recreation, they would probably know I'd be a little bit strict on the exact shot itself because I want it to be accurate. Or most shots, I would want them to do their own thing, just be stylistic, especially a lot of Eddie's shots in Hagrid.
So yeah, that's kind of the chaos and stuff of the branding team and everything that really went into the expo videos. It was a pretty intense, I'd say, just around a month getting all those video projects up and ready. There was 27 clip style videos that we had to produce.
Something like that.
Before we get off branding, a part of branding as well is some of us on the graphics team besides pixel art. So Parker isn't here, but he does a lot of the main graphics like MCParks branding guide, the actual logo, the expo logo. I try to help out every now and then when I'm not filming or making merch. So I'm going to be posting kind of the first proofs of the Explorer's Kingdom logo I made. That motion graphic you saw at the end, that was made in After Effects.
And then I've been doing a lot of I don't necessarily do a ton of design work, but a lot of the stuff that necessarily Parker might not be able to push out just timing wise. So being able to follow his set branding guides and guidelines, I'm able to help him push out graphics such as a lot of the stuff you guys saw on Twitter in the last week and the expo schedules and stuff like that.
Yeah, the whole exercise of putting this expo together has really proven to me what we're capable of as a team and like the quality of stuff that we can put out. Like I really think that we're at a point where we can do a lot cooler things on the YouTube channel now and start to really, rethink what it means to make an ad campaign for a new park or something. Because we just have all these really talented people, and we've gone so quickly from having maybe one or two people who edit videos together sometimes to having this dedicated team of people who are all really capable. And that goes for honestly all parts of the Parks Experience department. We went from having one or two people who could do graphic design to this team of people who are making image maps for everyone on the server. We went from one or two people who maybe knew how to make some models sometimes, and otherwise we'd have to outsource it to commissioned people. But now we have this like really dedicated and talented team of people who are making models for the resource pack. Like it's nuts and it's great. And like a year ago, I only could have dreamed to be where we are now. I was looking up from here.
Yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say, but we're also expanding to even more interesting things that we couldn't have imagined even a couple months ago. And that's also exciting. And the music production thing is still something that's a little nebulous at the moment. I've been using the word nebulous a lot recently. I don't know why. It's something that we're still kind of figuring out what it means and where it fits into everything else. So that being said, it's really giving us the opportunity to top to bottom, create our own theme park experiences. Darren, you've been doing a lot of the initial sort of wrangling together of the audio production people.
Yeah, so it started around a month ago as well. We had a bunch of crazy stuff going on around a month ago. I had gotten a message from Bored to Death, who had told me that he had applied to be on the branding team. And he's like, I do a little bit of video work, but he's like, I do a lot of like music stuff. So if you have any need for like custom audio for these videos, let me know. And so he sent me some of his work, and I was like, just, for example's sake, can I have you think about any attraction, doesn't need to exist, think about if you were to score 30 seconds of that attraction, send me what that would sound like. And I think it was maybe 3 hours later, he sent me like a 2-minute long clip. So he went 4 times as long as what I had requested. And so he sent me a clip of what would become kind of the baseline sound, I guess, of the San Francisco area. And he said, the attraction I envision is something that is futuristic, similar to Spaceship Earth, but more about space. I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. And so I listened to it, and I was like, this is where this team starts. And so we had gotten in contact with each other. And, this is a full month before this park is announced. So if I don't, like, tiptoe how I'm introducing this content to him and stuff, and basically get him on board before he knows what he's doing, I run the risk of this entire project being leaked to everyone. And so I was like, we're in the exploratory phase of figuring out if we want to, move forward with custom parks, well aware that we're 4.5 months into building them. And so we sat down, I walked him through the park, and he started working on music. And then we started showing some people like the samples, or having people listen to like the samples of some of the music. And then Steve Darkcloud had reached out to me and was like, oh, hey, I also do music production. And then it became 2. And a couple days ago, Vec reached out to me and said, oh, hey, I also do music production stuff. Let me help out. And so like now we're about to enter this team of now 6 people as of later today, all working on audio production. And it's literally taking a feel of what the land looks like, and saying what do we want the emotional takeaway to be of that land, and how do we use music to convey that imagery.
Similarly to how if you were starting to build something, you might make like a visual mood board of like what you want this land to feel like. We start when we're concepting these loops with like an audio mood board. We'll put together like a big list of tracks that were like, here's things that kind of give the idea of what we're going for. Some blend of all of this stuff is kind of what we wanna make.
One thing that's actually interesting that kind of falls under this that I worked on a bit for indie and I'm interested in doing in the future is Foley, which is making sounds using whether it be everyday objects. I used like some pots and pans and some marbles and stuff and recorded that just because I couldn't find the sound clip anywhere. And I think that's because that's something they do in the actual parks. Like I know when Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was coming out, that was a huge thing. All the Foley design for it. So I think that's something that, even though I haven't really talked to Darren and Ryan about that, that might be something that we do for custom.
Oh, for sure,
Yeah,
yeah, because we got to make all that stuff from scratch, So it's either we license audio that we can use, from the internet, or we make it ourselves. And I think it's cooler if we make it ourselves,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think herein lies the cool thing about the Parks Experience team. Because it's not a well-defined thing, we can expand it to fill whatever niche we need. Like whatever we happen to be working on, if there's something that doesn't fit into, the realm of other things that we do, we can lump it under Parks Experience, and we can scale out, and people feel more inclined to like bring out other talents that they happen to have. Like for example, do you think that somebody would have applied to us as to do audio production if he didn't see that we also had the kind of similar field of video production and branding and all that kind of stuff, and thought, oh, this is like tangentially related, and maybe I should just go ahead and ask? I think that's the beauty of this department.
Yeah, and there's another facet of it.
Faucet.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
There's more expansion within the development team too. So, for example, like Sam is doing a lot of work on the website that has. I don't know, Sam. Do you want to kind of take over with that?
Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of front end kind of design idea things to do some website updates because so we went through having our phase of WordPress websites a long time ago, and then we went and we had a custom website built.
Did we ever have a WordPress site?
Yeah, we had WordPress sites
We had
and
an
Engine. We had
Engine
Engine.
site, yeah.
We had Engine, and then we went to WordPress because I remember Darren setting all that stuff up. And then we had a custom website, and that just kind of aged. So then
it was the old website, the first custom website was just a big PHP hack.
Yeah. And then Ryan, a couple of years ago, I wasn't here for this, went back and rebuilt it, and that's what we have today, essentially. I think Ryan won't deny the fact that that was a very rushed project and that he didn't get to spend as much time as he wanted to on that.
So when we went away from the old custom website, the old PHP hacked together, cobbled together stuff, when it broke spectacularly, as hacked together things eventually do.
Yep.
And so we were sitting in a place where we didn't have a web presence at all. And we also, more importantly, we didn't have our audio client, which is a big part of, how guests interact with our parks. Just as an example, there's 120 people on Minecraft right now. Like a third of them are on the audio server. So it's something that's a big way that people experience our parks. And so we need to get something together, pretty soon. And so, I used it's just a full stack React application, quick and dirty because full stack React stuff is just very quick to prototype. And we cobbled that together. But we're reaching a point where we're thinking about how things extend into the future, and the way that this stuff is put together right now isn't super thought of as, you know, a way that definitely scales. And so, for those of you who don't
and we're
know,
seeing that we're seeing that in a lot of places as well. I mean, not only talking about websites, me and Ryan had a conversation last night about how we're looking into new ways to deploy servers and configurations and things like that to make everything work a lot better and more efficiently. Because I mean, we're managing what are we at, like eight servers including Bungie now?
How many Minecraft servers?
Yeah.
Well, obviously Minecraft servers are just a very small part of everything, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 Minecraft servers are currently available to, you know, on our Bungee Cord system. But that's actually going to expand in the future once we do things like, you know, have multiple instances of Walt Disney World to split people across once things get too busy and things like that. So that's something, you know, scale is a big consideration when we're considering what we're doing in a way that it hasn't been in the past. I have a software engineering background, I have a computer science degree. So, you know, we're looking at ways to change the way that our code bases work, to keep them in, you know, to keep them in a way that they will scale into the future no matter what we decide to do. And, you know, that's something that's well, it's not a very sexy task. That's for sure. It's not always a lot of fun. And it definitely is just really boring to drone on and talk about. But you know, it's very important as far as when we think about how do we keep MCParks, you know, relevant and fun and a good place to be. There's a lot of this sort of invisible things in the background that need to be done incredibly well, because when they're not done flawlessly, it's very apparent in, you know, issues that spring up.
And luckily right now, we're super early in the idea of doing some website changes and pushes. Mind you, a lot of what I'm working on is some front-end concept work. Nothing is set in stone. The systems that we're going to use is not decided upon yet. But right now I have the really fun part of not doing a ton of back-end work and having to make things work, but really getting to design some interfaces that we'll be able to launch out in the coming months, years, et cetera, et cetera.
Which dovetails nicely into what the other work that you do in the Park Experience team with regards to design and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, the Parks Experience team is people finding their other, not fringe interests, but like, you know, their other little you know, interests in things and how they can make that, you know, useful to the server.
Yeah.
But you know. All sorts of stuff going on. And of course, that's not the only type of development that's going on. It's not just boring, scaly stuff that happens. There's also all the fun things, like, you know, making the guide maps work and making the magic band work and all of the other, like, guest features that you see. That's a little bit more fun, for sure. Still requires an understanding of you know, software engineering principles and stuff like that. The main code bases for the server are written in Java. So, you know, knowledge of Java is a big necessity. And it's not just the knowledge of the programming language of Java, but the knowledge of, you know, how to write generalizable software in that realm, and how to write software that's going to be easy for others to contribute to. How to write software that makes use of what came before, is performant and takes into account, you know, performance considerations and stuff like that. You know, it's all important, because even something as simple as, you know, I want to have a map that says who's ridden the ride the most times. There's a lot of ways that you could write that would just make the server, you know, crash and just, like, you know, lag to oblivion every time someone looked at it, if you didn't do it properly. So there's lots of, you know, other things to to think about.
I think it's
and,
safe to say that like a lot of the stuff on the server, and granted, I can't really speak for a lot of it because most of it is done by Ryan. There's a lot more, as much as making cool features and stuff are cool. If we could make features without having to think about making it like asynchronous and make it cooperate with the big demand that we have, we could have hundreds of more features. But I think that one of the biggest priorities for us is also making sure that things are stable, that they won't crash things, that they won't overload things, and that everything runs asynchronously, so that ultimately we can provide a better guest experience while making features that won't impact or hinder their experience.
Exactly. We're too big just to throw things together and put it out there, without giving consideration to these things. So, yeah. And also just the fact that our lack of a talent pool of people who maybe have some of the the background in software engineering that we're looking for, is also a reason why, stuff happens. Most of the work that happens is, me fixing very impactful bugs and that kind of stuff. And that's why the, feature progress has been slow. But there's lots of fun things planned in the future. And it's a fun time. It's a good time.
So that's development.
Yeah. And of course, development also has to do with things to make our cast members work better. So whether that's like, making the commands that are used in the attractions for animatronics and stuff like that, working on if you're at the technician panel, show script, that's a developed in-house, pseudo language that our technicians use to write all of their shows. So, developing that is something that we do. And then also, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's making a utility web page to help resource pack cast members, find items in the resource pack. Like, I know we had a Jason Bourne hat somewhere. What item is it on? Like, being able to go and find that, a utility to help that out. The show sync utility or the outlining tool. Those are other good examples of those types of utilities that help our cast members do work. So these are all. It's very wide ranging, yeah. So yeah, Parks Experience. It's a big
melting pot
patchwork quilt of different people with different talents, and yeah. So I'm sure people probably have more questions about, stuff and how things get put together. So we would definitely love to answer those questions. I know we answered a lot of them along the way, but if any more still exist. Any suggestions to get started animating like the Galaxy's Edge trailer? Broken, what do you think?
Definitely. Definitely for me, pretty much. I just I had no experience yet. I jumped in. Basically, what I kind of recommend is that you first get an idea on animation principles, and then of course what I would do is I would pick a film and then or pick like a short commercial or something like the GE trailer, stuff like that, and try to recreate it to the best of your abilities. And I've mentioned, and someone mentioned this before, but we actually have a cool little show utility that actually lets you figure out what tick and a specific event is on. But the way Minecraft works is that we do 20 pixels a second, and while the default for Minimator is the tempo is 24, you can actually turn it down to 20 and work by that.
Can you use the armor stand utility on the creative server? Not super relevant to this panel, but no, the armor stand utility in the website requires the use of the summon command, which you don't have access to. All right, have we gotten? Do people not have questions? We gotten through everything.
Like one person's typing. It looks like
We answered everything as we were going through. Stuff anyway. Creative writing. We went through this earlier. It's being used in our custom parks for all the custom stuff that we have to write.
Because stuff doesn't exist yet for that.
Yes. Some of the merchandise people talked about some of the merch they're currently working on. You can watch back the video later if you wanna see that. I just don't want to go over the same things over and over again. People who have been here the whole time. Yeah, you'll see pins in the future for sure.
I think another thing that's super interesting about this department specifically is every other department. I mean, Text and Imagineers have their tools and stuff that they use that aren't on the server. A vast majority of the work that we do is off the server. So like, I mean, a lot of what I'm doing is obviously not in game, besides like modeling and stuff, but like the screenshots that Broken, Sherry, and Steve, like a lot of what we do in the server as a whole isn't about specifically things that we do in game. There's so many other like tools and things that we have to do and use to make those in-game experiences better.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that each little part of the Parks Experience team has in common.
All right. Darren, anything else that you want to add at the end here?
No, I think that kind of wraps it up. It's just it's a very diverse team, and as we see the needs for the project kind of grow, we are really open to kind of expanding it into new areas.
Cool stuff. Thank you all for coming to the Parks Experience panel. This actually is the last of the panels for the expo. So come on down at 6 p.m. for the closing ceremony.
Do we know what we're doing for the closing ceremony?
We're saying goodbye. But
We're gonna
yes.
tap dance for 5 minutes. That's our closing ceremony.
Lovely.
There you go.
See, the good thing about the closing ceremony is that if there's no expectations, we can do whatever we want.
We can.
And we can also do nothing.
We could.
Nothing is boring.
Exactly, nothing
You're
is
right.
boring.
Nothing is. Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure. So yeah, I guess this panel is adjourned.